Okay, so Brooke Shields is speaking out about how she was treated in the media when she was a teenager. Speaking on the Armchair Expert podcast, Brooke said she was over-sexualized in the media after her commercial for Calvin Klein jeans aired. So take a look at the ad, okay? This is from 1980.
You want to know what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing.
So Brooke said back then, interviewers like Barbara Walters asked about her measurements and her sexual history. She called this interview with Barbara when she was 15, quote, practically criminal. Was this out? You're shaking your head, Tori.
Yeah, I watched the interview, and Brooke Shields makes it very clear now. She had no idea about the double entendre of like what was going on sexually. No one explained it to her. No one wanted her to say it a certain way. She was just this girl that was young and did this thing, and that was it. And Barbara Walters kind of came at her like, how dare you do this? And if you watch it, you just see Brooke Shields get smaller and smaller. And really, Barbara Walters, and I mean this with all due respect, sort of really misses the point that if she's the victim here, talk to her like the victim. Barbara Walters has also done that with, let's say, Dolly Parton, where she's like, you don't have to wear all that makeup and that blonde wig. And Dolly's like, I know, but I want to. So you see a little bit of an antiquated take on that, and it's from another woman to a woman. So it's an interesting moment in time in which you see a generational shift, I think.
I just think it's weird that we go back to the 80s to try to retroactively fix something. I understand it wasn't right in today's time. We used to smoke on airplanes, okay? I didn't blow smoke in your face. What do you want me to do about it? Things are building up, and this is just one of the stories that are building up. I understand that it wasn't right, but what can you do to go back 50 years and then now you want Barbara Walters, you want an apology from Barbara Walters 50 years later?
I think you want maybe a ground for moving forward. How can we evolve the conversation?
I think we're on that ground.
Well, I think saying it overtly helps people move it along. So, for instance, the next time there's an interviewer, that maybe won't come up. That's how language evolves and interviews evolve.
I don't think you could say that nowadays. I think it has evolved.
And that's why it is working.
But instead of saying and appreciating the times that we're in, like, hey, we've really come a long way. We have to go back and be like, look, shame on this person for doing that. You can do that with everybody.
I agree.
Jeff's right. I agree with Jeff here.
I agree. And Jeff, I'll take it a step further. I think that the lightning rod in this case is Barbara Walters, but I think it's a lot of guilt amongst ourselves. Barbara Walters wasn't just some random person that showed up from the street and started asking questions. She was hired, and she was picked to do that interview because she was popular, because those are the kind of questions that people wanted to hear. The viewers at home wanted to hear that. So when we go back and we get an Oprah interview from 1992 where she's asking Britney Spears something weird or something off color, it's because the social conscience was off color.
But what's wrong
and so
with
that's what people wanted to hear.
And I hear you, and I understand what you're saying is we can't always be doing this. I understand that. But what's wrong with pointing out that, man, look how far we've come?
That would be great, but that's not the narrative.
It's not.
I agree with you. If the narrative was like, hey, let's look how far we've come. Instead, it's
just blame Barbara
what
Walters.
she did.
Right.
Can you believe she asked that without anybody taking into consideration that this was 50 years ago? Not to excuse it, but it was a different time, and we've all evolved, thank goodness. And if you haven't evolved, then yeah, and you try doing that in today's day and age, to Jeff's point, you will be canceled, rightfully so. Okay, Rebel Wilson said she received backlash, speaking of which, for losing weight. Rebel, who recently posted these pics on a beach in Fiji, started her year of health 2 years ago. Since then, she lost over 70 pounds. But she told the BBC her own team did not want her to lose the weight. Watch.
I got a lot of pushback from my own team, actually, here in Hollywood, when I said, okay, I'm going to do this year of health. I feel like I'm really going to physically transform and change my life. And they were like, why? Why would you want to do that? Because I was earning millions of dollars being, the funny fat girl and being that person.
Wow. What do you think about this, Al?
I get it on both sides.
Me too.
I'm happy for her. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's her health that we're talking about, her well-being, how she feels about herself moving forward. I get all that. But I also get that you have a team around you that's paying for their kids' college from you being the funny, quote-unquote, fat girl. And when you say, I'm no longer going to be that, whatever you say next, they don't want to hear it. They want to hear, where's the next check coming from? Not that you're reinventing yourself midway through your career. Now, do I think there's a new lane for her? Absolutely. She's super talented. But might not be. This might just be kind of the end of the checks, or who we know her as, who we've grown to love. So I get both sides, but at the end of the day, forget the other side. This is her and how she has to walk around every day. So I'm with her, but I get it in terms of money making. She's taking a risk.
Yeah, I totally understand both sides. I just really want, again, and maybe I'll be the person on the outside of this today, and that's fine. I just want the narrative around Rebel Wilson to no longer be she lost all this weight. It's got to move on. It's like the team didn't like it, women didn't like it, men didn't like it. I'm so tired. I just want Rebel Wilson to be in a movie and we can talk about her acting. It's so annoying.
But which movie, I think, is the question.
Agreed, but when you brand yourself now as the girl that lost the weight, even though there's no new, we don't move on. The whole idea of her getting healthy is to be a new you. So be the you and stop living in this circle that I wish would just evolve. And maybe I'm the only one who feels that way. But
no, I agree with you. And why does Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill, other comedic actors who go up and down with their weight, why don't they get the pushback? I know they got some, but nothing in comparison to what Rebel Wilson's
Adele
getting.
and Rebel Wilson.
Right.
Yeah.
Why do they get any pushback?
Right.
Is the ironic question that we're all talking about. Why don't we pray? If I say, wow, Adele looks great,
right.
Rebel Wilson looks great, people start attacking me for judging someone because they. Do I live in a banana tree that everyone's just out of their minds right now? I mean, it's so crazy. You can't even say one thing. It is so crazy. I know from personal experience, when my weight fluctuates, I feel physically better, mentally better about myself. I'm not making fun of your dietary habits or what you look like. We live in this crazy, crazy planet right now that you just have to sit there and be like, I agree, whatever mental patients on the internet says.
Well, I think it's that her fans see themselves in her. And they look and they say, I'm an overweight person, but you know what? That overweight person made it. They're walking the red carpet. She stands for what I could be. That's why, I remember one time I was opening for Monique years ago, early in my career. And I was in West Palm Beach at the old club there. And after she got off stage, comics do a little meet and greet. And when women met her, they would burst into tears. Aww. Because Monique represented so much of who they were. And I didn't get that. I was like, oh, just a comic I'm hosting for. But when I saw how powerful she was, I got it. And so I think that's where a lot of people are coming from now when they're like, don't lose the weight because what you're saying is there's something wrong with me that you need to shed that.
But I get you, but to be healthy, and you can't live like that long term. Again, I'm going to get hate for saying that. But if you love Monique and she does that for herself and she feels good about herself, you don't like her now because you don't physically look the same?
It's a weird juxtaposition.
That's crazy to me.
It's weird. The human mind is
Go live
dynamic.
in the banana tree. Am I right?
Dude, people are already there. That's where the world exists.